Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have been telling you this for some time, which is the truth eventually will reach where the lie has been many times before. And that is, reality will meet delusion, and reality is fact-based, is going to destroy the mirage created by the media operatives and their weasel politicians. And that is what has been going on in Ukraine for so long and before, little by little, starts to come out in the open. And the media operatives are trying to block that from happening. And this is, I think, their last fight. After this, the truth will be told in the open. People like me and others have been telling you the other side or the side of what has been going on in Ukraine. In this case, now the professionals are coming and are smacking the weasel politicians and whomever is behind them. So let me show you here the first topic, which is United Kingdom military come out and smack Starmer, the Prime Minister, about the peacekeeping mission in Ukraine. You know, Starmer organized that summit with other fellow weasels like Macron and others, and people showed up in London for peacekeeping mission in Ukraine. And he went way ahead of his skis to point out that Great Britain, as I call Great Britain the opossum, which looks aggressive but is harmless, now its own military comes and says whatever Starmer wants to do is just cannot be done. Cannot be. It's unrealistic. So I'm going to show you how the military, the professional, called the weasels out. It's just a political stunt orchestrated by the politicians without even understanding the possibility, or maybe lying. Here, this is the first article. The first topic comes from Russia Today, from Monday, the 24th of March, 2025. UK military slams Ukraine peacekeeping plans as political theater. So this guy has been trying to organize that coalition of the willing and the summit and all that, and his military says this is just a political theater. Why? Let's find out. Prime Minister Keir Starmer earlier proposed sending troops to the conflict zone as part of a coalition of the willing. UK military officials have dismissed Prime Minister Keir Starmer's proposal for deploying Western troops to Ukraine as part of a peacekeeping force to oversee a potential ceasefire. The Telegraph reported on Sunday. Senior military sources told the outlet that Starmer has got ahead of himself. Starmer announced the initiative earlier this month, aiming to build a coalition of the willing to support Ukraine militarily. Last week, he claimed that multiple countries backed the idea of sending in a peacekeeping force up to 10,000 troops, despite Moscow's opposition to any Western deployments in the conflict zone. London hosted planning talks last week with military officials from partner nations. They went way ahead of their skis. However, military sources dismissed the plans as premature and politically motivated. And I'm quoting, "There is no defined military end state or military strategic planning assumptions. It's all political theater," one senior army official told the news outlet. And I'm quoting again, "Starmer got ahead of himself with talk of boots on the ground before he knew what he was talking about." And here again, it's politics. There's no military sense in it. What a 10,000 international force based in the west of the country of 400 kilometers from the front line means to do? It cannot even protect itself. What is the mission? What is the legitimacy? What are the rules of engagement? How is it commanded, supplied and housed? How long is it there for and why? No one knows. So this is what the experts, the real experts, the people in the military say, or some say. Starmer, nevertheless, he plays the political role that he has to play because he's sponsored by some people who really want that war to go on. And as I said many times, are you going to go and fight the Russians? Remember when Trump in the Oval Office asked Starmer, So are you going to go and take on Russia by yourselves? And what did Starmer do? He knew the reality. We're just, how do you call it, opossums. Posturing, and in reality we play dead when you're called out. Okay, let's fight. And that's it. Sorry, this is the reality. So this is one reality check that these baboons get from the real experts. All right, next one. The truth comes out little by little and is told by people who are dismantled by the media operatives. In this case is Trump and his Middle East envoy, Mr. Witkoff Stein. Surprisingly, here, Russia Today. Trump hails rational Putin conversations. The US president has held at least 2 phone calls with the Russian counterpart about Ukraine over the past few weeks. And this is what he says. US President Donald Trump has praised his work relationship with the Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, describing their conversations as very rational, end quote, and reiterating a desire to end the Ukraine conflict. We've had very rational discussions, and I just want to see the people stop getting killed. Fantastic. Now, look at this one. Trump's Ukraine peace envoy parrots Putin's favorite lines. Maybe the so-called favorite lines are the truth? That they stop the truth from coming out to most of the people. So then they try to destroy, which a person I don't really like, let's put it this way. Mr. Witkoff shouldn't be the envoy in Ukraine or discuss with the Russians when he's the Middle East envoy. He should not be around. The only connection that he's got over there is he's Jewish and then Zelensky is Jewish. That's it. But here he is. So now this guy say Trump's Ukraine peace envoy, he's not the peace envoy, he's the Middle East envoy, parrots Putin's favorite lines. Could it be because those lines are true? Could it be? No, they don't want you to think that those are true. And let me show you something else. This is what Witkoff said. Putin's not a bad guy. Holy moly, fuckaroli. He's not a bad guy. And is also, where is it? Is also rational? Are you crazy? And then they come here and say, well, parrots Putin's favorite line. Okay, what are Putin's favorite lines? Which are maybe the truth? President Donald Trump, Middle East envoy, echoed President Vladimir Putin's long-standing assertion that Ukraine is Russian territory in appearance on Fox News. Okay, and then what do we have next? Putin's not a bad guy. 8 bombshells revelations from Trump's envoy. So these 8 bombshells are things that they label as, come on baby doll, parrot Putin favors lines. So let's see, which one are they? First one, Putin is a gracious and smart. Oh my God, we're not supposed to think of Putin that way. We're supposed to think that he's a criminal baboon. Former KGB, that is just a criminal. That's how they want us, demand of us to think of people that they want portrayed in a certain way. And others, fantastic peacekeeping, like Zelensky, like Netanyahu, like many others, like Schumer, and all these guys. Here it is. Witkoff said like this. He said he liked him, adding, I don't regard Putin as a bad guy. He's super smart. Maybe it's because the other side is super dumb, and then is the contrast so big that it appears to be super smart. I think Putin is super smart, but hey, that's me. And he's informed as well. All right, so he says that he was also gracious. That's what it is. And then let's see. Before meeting him in Moscow, Witkoff said someone in Trump's administration told him to watch it, because he's an ex-KGB guy. So, okay, Putin commissioned portrait of Trump. So Putin got a portrait from with Trump. Let's see what this is all about. Witkoff said Putin gave him a beautiful portrait of Trump he had commissioned from a leading Russian artist and asked him to bring it back to the White House. Trump was clearly touched by it. This is the kind of connection that we've been able to reestablish through, by the way, a simple word called communication. What have I been saying about communication? Even bad communication is better. I mean, ugly communication. Ugly communication is better than no communication. Right here, now they're taking a shit on with Vitkov. U.S. envoy unable to recall names of Ukrainian territories in negotiations. Because he said it's about 4 regions, Donbass, Crimea, you know the names. Well, how about Mr. Biden? How many times he said that? The 5 regions or oblasts of Ukraine that are either annexed or partially occupied by Russian forces are Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporozhye, Kherson and Crimea. Okay, thank you very much. Elephant in the room is whether Ukraine will give occupied regions. They will. Vitkov said it was correct for the Kremlin's perspective that the partially occupied territories in Ukraine were now part of Russia. And this is what he said. The elephant in the room is there are constitutional issues with Ukraine as to what they can concede to with regard to giving up territory. The Russians are de facto in control of these territories. The question is, will the world acknowledge that those are Russian territories? Question mark. Can Zelensky survive politically if he acknowledged this, or physically? This is the central issue in the conflict. No, the central issue in the conflict is NATO presence to the Russian borders. But hey, he has to say what he has to say. Disputed referenda cited as evidence of desire to split from Ukraine. So he says they are Russian speaking, he said. There have been referendums where the overwhelming majority of the people have indicated that they want to be under Russian rule. So that means, what are you going to do about it? Ukraine has agreed to hold presidential elections. Yeah, as long as Zelensky counts the votes. UK's plans for Ukraine dismissed as simplistic. Remember, all these are called parroting Putin's favorite line. This is the reality. The reality right there. It's a combination of posture and a pose and a combination of also being simplistic. It is. Remember what I said here? Right here in the first article, UK military slams Ukraine's peacekeeping plan as political theater. US plans to collaborate with Russia after ceasefire. Oy vey, that's bad for whom? No, it's not bad. It's always good to cooperate. Now you have your interests, I have my interests. Sometimes we don't see one another, and that's fine. That's fine. But where we can cooperate, we can. Are we competitors? We are. Are we enemies? Well, if you tell me that we are enemies, then let me get to that point. I think they are competitors, maybe not enemies, but some interests want to see themselves look at one another and say, you're my enemy, you're my enemy. Why? They profit out of this. They want to profit out of this. All right, so here you have, I think reality is more and more allowed to come out. And not only come out, I'm coming out as come out, and even now the media, so-called media, the legacy media, the corporate media, as I call them, the operatives, are still working hard to discredit the people who tell the truth. But little by little, they have no option because, the caravan, the dogs are barking, the caravan keeps moving. The same here. Those guys are barking, but the problem is on the other side, it's us who have also a platform to tell, other things that they don't tell, they hide, they omit. Why? They have to give us a narrative, and their narrative is a delusional narrative, an interested narrative, a political motivated, and economic, obviously. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.